Hey everybody, it's another beautiful morning here on the Once Lost server, and I'd like to go ahead and get started with my build and go ahead and finish that off, maybe the top floor and the roof today. And I'd like you to come along for the build and show you a little bit of what I've been doing around the property here. Just been hanging out. There's quite a few new players, 3 or 4. I don't know them all. Maybe they'll log on, maybe they won't, and we'll see them. But Arija's been doing a great job recruiting some new players that have been quite busy, doing some cool things around Spawn Town. I think everybody's kind of getting established, getting settled in, and if they log on, great, we'll go have an introduction. If not, oh well. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Here's the house to date. Let's have a look at it. Got a few feral chickens running around. Get my tools back up so I can see what I'm doing. We have this downstairs going. We've got all these nice shapes. So let's get up here on this second floor and see what we got going on. Here I've done a lot of work off camera just collecting resources, supplies. If you look, I've got a lot of wood chopped. We went and got a cedar tree and went ahead and got that planted out here in spruce, I guess, instead of cedar. Did a little mining and found just enough diamonds to have a pick, an axe, and enough to do an enchantment table. So that's what we've done. We converted some of our iron into this nice little anvil. And that's about as far as we've gotten so far. The only other thing I've done is I did get one horse, and then I snuck it into town and bred it with somebody else's horse and took the baby back. And so we've been breeding like mad with all of our gold, making gold carrots to breed them with. And then you have a stack of sugar that you make from sugar cane or a stack of wheat, and you just feed it out to the baby until it grows big, and then you right click with an empty hand, and then you ride it till it loves you, and then it's tamed. And then, I had some difficulties. I think you can only breed tamed horses. It's my understanding. Because the wild ones weren't taking the golden carrots, or they did take the carrot, but they didn't breed. So I don't know if that's a thing or if it was just a glitch on my system. I'm not sure. If any of you guys know the answer to that question, go ahead and leave me a response. I would love it. That way I know for sure, because, I hate wasting my gold and my carrots and my time. Gold's kind of hard to find on an ultra hard set server, and you have to do everything in survival mode. That's a cool little mountain over there. I think we'll have to go explore that later. Alright, so one thing that's been bothering me is how I'm going to do this little entrance here, because I'd like to have a patio. The rest of the house has doors inset by 1, which I like. Gives it a little depth, kind of gives you a little sheltered walkway when you come in. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Because see, like this one, it just didn't lend itself to that by the way the house was built. So for this one, I may have to do it on kind of the outside. And so that means this has got to go away. Let's go ahead and get our axe down here ready to go. That means this has got to go away. Either that or, here's another idea. Let's just make the opening right here. What do we got to lose? Not a thing. And then this could actually be just a mirror of that. I like the plan. We got 3 crossed? We do. This could be like a little bay window area. Nothing wrong with that. And then, oh no, that's not what we want. How are we going to do this? This won't have to be there, will it? Okay. And, oops. See, me and positional stairways. I don't want to fall down. And then I'll put glass there, and then glass here. I like the plan. Pretty simple. At least for these upstairs windows, that could be cool. Although the rest of the house has birch, so just for the picture windows then, we'll do this. All right. One thing I did not bring over here was my, let's put this in here. Look, we got some supplies squirreled away. Let's put some of this extra here. And I'm going to go get some glass to fill these windows, and I'll be right back. All right, we ran and got a little bit of this glass. We've got blocks and panes. I'm going to try and use the panes because it's more effective use of our resources. And I just kind of like how it looks here in between them. Makes it nice and shiny. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like that idea. The only problem is the entrance here. I may just have to live with it being that way. I do like the big picture window here. You can still come over and see what's going on. I'm gonna have to figure out something with that. How can we? Because honestly, nobody will know that that was the support beam underneath. And the same for this, because we're using the thick planks for the doorways, or the floor rather. So let's do that. I do not have a door. I can make a door. I have skills. Whoop, whoop. Let's just do one door. Put it down here. Place it from the inside, and voila! We have ourselves a little deck entrance. Not so sure about that. That's right. We'll probably solve that when we get up here and do our ceiling. Now, as far as the arch of the roof goes, I'm going to have this half come up and over, so a peaked roof here. And then this long part will be the main roof. And I'm debating about whether to use spruce for my roof or the oak. I think the oak is going to look a little too pale in comparison, just because I really do want it to be kind of striking and have some variant in color. Okay, that fits in a little better. And then we can have some landscaping here. That's another day. Let's see here. The other thing I'm going to need for this little project is scaffolding. Because when you're building over the edge of your building, you gotta have dirt. Dirt, also good. I have some shovels to knock it down with. The other thing I could do is leaves, which is real easy to put up and to tear down with shears. But let's go ahead and get started on that roof line. Roof line, roof line. Okay. 3 oak stairs left to do this picture window. Although I have been hopping out here to kill stuff pretty regular. Right here. Do I want this to be another doorway? No. No, I don't. I do want that to be placed correctly, however. And I don't think I have enough of the oak stairs. I gotta have one more. Oh, Mr. Stairway, please be my friend. Apparently I only had 2. I thought I had 3. Did it fall out? There it is. Book. Alright. And then we'll do glass window panes. Keeps the spiders from visiting you in the middle of the night. So that'll be a nice view for the enchantment room. Let's see here. Anything else we're going to finish off here before we get started on our roof? That right there, like that. All the way around. It does kind of get monotonous, but we have... Oh, running into things. Anyway, yeah, it gets monotonous, but we have lots of plans for storage up here in these eaves because they're within arm's length, and that's kind of how we want them. That's kind of my thing. I do like to put trunks and things up in the eave because it's off the floor and you don't have to see it. Okay, so that's kind of our finished second floor. I do need to make furniture. This is like pretty bland right now. I'm going to be having a double bed and some bedroom items, you know, fancy it up some. And this will be our work area. We're going to have enchanting. We're going to have this anvil, and then I'm going to have brewing area here, so that you can come right upstairs and get to work. And storage will be right up above you, like right here in these areas. So let us go ahead and get up here. First thing we're going to do is make lots and lots and lots of spruce stairs. So let's unload some of our other things we have. Good Lord, I'm going to have to make another trunk already. There we go. So now we have lots and lots of chests. Let's just go ahead and place them down. Birch, birch, birch. Let's put a big stack of birch down. Get rid of the glass for now. We don't need buckets. Keep the arrows. Always, always, always keep your arrows. Let's keep one dirt pile. And there we go. Let's see how many trees we can kill to make a roof. It's gonna be a lot, boys and girls. It's gonna be a lot. And there we go. So we got 2 stacks of it, and I honestly don't think that's going to be enough. But we'll deal with that when the time comes. All right, here's our little stairway up. Hello. Hello, world. So let's see what we can get doing with this. First things first, we need a scaffolding. We can hop on down. I like to make it too wide, just so I can get to what I'm working on a little easier. So we build this all up around the edge so that we do not fall down and die, which is, you know, always a danger when you're working here in survival. Go round and round and round the building. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys today about service providers for internet. I must say, I have actually 2 service providers. One is the satellite provider, which also does our TV. As I live in the wilderness, I really do live on the edge of nowhere. It's basically a dead zone. I usually don't even get cell service where I live because, you know, that's just how I roll. But recently there was a new service provider that came to town. It's been about 2 months ago, and they were like, oh, we can totally get you unlimited bandwidth for X amount of dollars a month. It was fairly inexpensive. And, you know, there's no contract. Anytime you want to break the contract, you can. I was like, well, sign me right up. So they were just barely able to get us service, as they had said. We really are on the fringe, and I live on the edge of a ravine, about 15 miles from a town, and there's lots of trees. And so the installation guy was like, hey, yeah, sure, sadly, we went ahead and got you service. I was like, oh, darn, thanks, you know. So I was pretty excited and happy. So it worked for about 4 days, 5 days, and then it was down. And my neighbor guy was like, you know, have you had any problems? And I was like, you know, actually, yeah, it worked great for a few days, and then suddenly, boom, it's all gone. Well, this new internet is all wireless. It comes from the northern part of the state of Indiana down to, let's say, the central part of the state. The western central part. Okay, so here, interrupt my little story. This is going to be the front. So these are actually going to be quite a bit taller here, these little support beams. They're going to go clear up to wherever, and I'm going to work in some support action here coming out probably right here. And then like so. Boom, boom, like this. So it looks like the beams are coming out. I really like this building style. I use it quite a lot. And, you know, if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry, but it's one of my favorite. And how it looks. I like the way it looks. It's rustic, it's rugged, all that kind of good stuff. And once you know it, I've built myself up into a hole so that I can't get back down and sleep. Because mobs are terrible around here. Let's see if I can get to bed. Yep. So anyway, back to the internet service provider. So my neighbors, who also live in the wilderness with me, were like, they had trouble with their service way before I did. Like immediately, but they were hooked up before us, and they actually put in a lot of effort to make sure it got hooked up. They helped run the electric, helped the guy put up a telephone pole, all that kind of stuff to put the receiver on. And the guy was like, well, yeah, sure, great, I love it. And I mean, my neighbor was cool enough to go ahead and, at first they didn't have the electric on. They had the thing hooked up to a car battery, and I should have known right then that things were going to go badly. So he spent, every couple of days would go change the battery and charge it and make sure it was working. And, I didn't make it. Not a surprise. So that was my first indication that, well, maybe this wasn't good. So it's been just over a month and a half, and we called and complained because it would work one day and be out for 3 or 4. And we're like, why can't you get this working? It works sometimes. So, obviously it works. What's wrong with your system that you can't keep it working? And they were unwilling to try. They were just like, well, if you don't like it, I guess you can just, we'll just refund your money and you'll be done. I was like, I really would like the unlimited service because, I do this little thing called YouTube where I really like to load videos and have things, online. And so the unlimited service was perfect for that because then I could go ahead. Let's bring this out one more just because I like it to extend a little bit. Like so. Oh, no, not like that so. Like that. Oh, no. Like that so. We'll chop that out. Just pretend like that never happened. And so they're just going to refund our money, and the guy was just not willing to try to get it installed, which I found kind of sad. Boom. Did that go? Looks like a fake boom. And it just, I find it very sad. So now I'm stuck on my satellite provider internet, which is actually quite a bit more expensive. I have limited bandwidth. I only have 10 gigs a month to use during any time. And I thought, well, that's makes me kind of despondent, but we'll persevere and see what we can do about getting things uploaded in a timely manner, because I'm having a good time doing this with you guys, and I think you guys are enjoying it too. I seem to be having a few more followers every week. I like it and I appreciate it. Okay, so here is our first row coming across, and actually this part of it is going to have to go because I said this was actually going to come. Let's get our dirt scaffolding because we're going to need it. Have a trigger for it. Wow, this is going to be way high up here. I can survey my domain. I went for a little walk that way the other day and found a swamp. So I have some slime balls. I made leads, which is kind of fun. Let's see here. Who did I say was going to get taller? This one? Was it this one? I think it was. Oh, no, maybe not, because it's going to slope down. Okay. It's going to be another one of these, because they're all going to get that way. It's this side. Okay, I got so carried away. I was so excited with my story. I forgot what I was doing. Okay, so this one is actually going to tie in right here. Don't fall! Will I get these? I'm going to fix this and get the other one started and come back and you guys can see kind of the first couple rows, okay? guys, welcome back. I've got the first part of the roof made over here, and it's got a birch support beam that goes across the top like so. It's got, you know, look at that chicken. He snuck up here on my scaffolding and he's been walking in circles. It's really kind of funny. So the arched peaked roof is going to be right here over the top of the main living area, and it comes out and extends 1 block past the wall. So it gives you an eave, and so I'm getting ready to work in this other half, and I want to show you how I'm going to do that. I really want to continue this wall past it. This is the doorway or the window that's right here. So we're going to have to make a smaller peak so that these two areas can join. I was kind of thrown about how I wanted to connect them, but I think I'm just going to run with it and see where it goes. So this part right here is actually going to have to go backwards. So it looks a little different when it comes in right there, but we'll just have to live with it. And in order to get this started, it has to go this way. So all that stuff underneath there, I'll actually go ahead and chop out when I'm done. Let's just do it. Oh, no, no. Like so. And this is going to make a nice little turn here. And so that leaves me with an actual opening that's going to be up above it. So I can't really put another arch. So I guess I'm going to have to actually go this route, which is bring another support beam back out of the building itself. And I don't mind it. It was just a little unexpected, I guess. That happens sometimes when you're free building. It just kind of turns out that way. Can I get back up there? No. Fell right down. Now, can I get back up here? I've had to build some strange scaffolding in order to get up. We'll just tear it all out again. And get ourselves back up there. Like so. Can I walk the beam? Walk the plank, Lauri. Walk the plank. So that's what we'll do. So that'll come out. That's okay. And that gives us a little eave that comes out. Get rid of that. And that. And that. And that. And that. And maybe even those, but I'll probably regret chopping this one. I think it's got to be there. I think it's got to be there. And then we can just continue our stairs / roof like so. And yeah, that's going to have to be a log. So maybe we'll just run this across the whole support all the way through. That might make it kind of interesting. Never know. That's a good idea. I might actually do that. Sometimes it just comes to you, right? I'm going to have to find some way of connecting that. Alright, there's that. And this will actually come this way. There we go. Made the turn nicely. Kind of made a mistake there. That happens a lot. But that's the beauty of owning an axe. You can just go in and chop out the ones you don't want anymore. Let's see. Now we're getting into territory of where this is actually going to meet up. But I'm going to run one line across here so that I can know how far to build these others. And then I'm actually going to build from this point up and chop out what I don't need, because that's easier for me than planning ahead. So here's where our other roof kind of comes in from. I'm going to ask that to be not that direction. Let's just go ahead and put a temporary block there. And this will end up being here and here. So we're going to ask that to make a turn. Did it turn? No. I really want it to turn. There we go. So it stair steps on up, and we're going to do the same here. Come in and ask that one to turn. So that's how that peak's going to run. Let's go ahead and get this side built, if I can get this to position correctly. Always entertaining when Lauri makes a roof. Just wasted 4 stairs in the middle of nowhere. It's alright. The axe is handy. It chops things down. La la la. I'm so happy to be getting this roof on, because then I can start doing some adventure around and seeing some of the other players' stuff. Seeing what they're up to. Had one visitor come by. MPZ5 came by and asked for a horse, and I said, absolutely, bring yourself a saddle. And he gifted me with a nice Power 5 bow. And as soon as I get some levels, I'm going to name it. I have a special name for my Power 5 bow that I want to use. And if you guess it, I'll be amazed. This is why I fast forwarded that last bit, because it does take quite a bit of time. In fact, I'll just do the same for this side, so that you guys won't be bored to death. See you in a little bit. Yep, okay, that's good. Now then, let's see if we can get down from here. Let's see if we can get down from here. Not too shabby. Alright, so, gotta get rid of some of this extra whatnots here going on. That doesn't belong there. That does. Oh, I fell. Whew, thank goodness for that, eh? So let's go ahead and take our shears, take down some of the scaffolding we don't need. And we'll try to get some of this stuff finished off today so we can make a break. And you guys can get on with the day. I won't fall off this way. Alright. Wow, that's turned out really well. Let's, I'm not sure about this corner here. It had a little interesting way of doing stuff. Look at all the extra stairs I've chopped out. Look at all this extra building material, Lauri. You could do so much more with it. So we ended up with a cross beam across here. But you know what? I think I want to take it the other direction. Honestly, I want it to go this way, like where this little thing is that I had for support. Can I get up there? I actually want it to go this way. If I gotta put a support beam, it's gotta go across here because that's gonna run the length of the building, not horizontal. It's a more natural place for it to be. If you've ever been in big old barns, when I was growing up, my grandfather had a barn. It was built in 1826. It was one of the oldest barns in the county where I live. One of the first homesteads. Which is cool, you know, it's kind of a claim to fame. It was just an interesting little thing to have around when we were growing up. It's long since been torn down, and, you know, it was old, and when, you know, grandparents age, they sometimes are unable to take care of things as they should. And I was still a baby, but it was torn down in order to make it safe. Alright, so we have to get up here and finish this out. But the barn was torn down to make it safe for everyone, because it got to be where things were falling over, and they were afraid we were going to fall through this floor, as a matter of fact. So they kind of did away with it, which was sad, but, you know, life moves on. But I do remember the old beams that were there, so that's kind of what I remember from it. Oh. Well, hey, let's, do I have any more of those? I do. Let's come out this way. Get those all the way to the top. Same with that. Chop out that support beam and bring in some of this birch at the top. I believe, did I have it that way at the top? I did. So there'll be glass. 1, 2, 1, 2. I had a little extra thing there to chop down. No matter. Alright. And so we've got our roof on. We've got to do some structural changes, I think, as far as this goes. I don't want to have these kind of remnants hanging out looking strange, so we'll have to do something with that. I don't know if I can get the block up there or not. If I can, great. If not, I'll live with it. Donk. 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 And we'll bring these up. But for today, that's pretty much going to seal the deal. Appreciate you joining me today on my little adventure for putting a roof on my house. It's been fun. Sadly, we had to deforest a lot of trees, but we always replant. As Paul Source Jr. says, "Re a bro, please regrow." If you pull something out of the ground, just put it back. That makes it easier for everyone else on the server to try to get some things done, and saves resources and makes sure there's enough for everybody. But thanks for joining me today on building my birch cottage here, and I appreciate you coming along for the ride. So we'll see you later.